Hey, what's going on at UF? UF obviously got a few commitments over the weekend, 7 commitments. Man, I think when you look at the fact that, UF got a new NIL conglomerate, right, or whatever, right? Like they switched from Gator Collective to Florida Victorious is the new one. And that happened a few months ago. They obviously had the most embarrassing NIL blunder since NIL's been around, right? Since in history. History is funny to say, but a couple of years. And I think they need some positive press. I think they need some positivity. And so UF's in a position right now where I think they have some increased funds. And I think they also have some better coordination with how things are happening. And I think they're trying to get kids to commit right away. I think they're trying to work really, really hard on getting kids in and trying to make this class as good as possible before games get played. And I think there are some situations where they're overpaying, but if you really want a sports car and you are bidding up against a guy who also really wants it and you overpay for it and you get that sports car and you're happy with it and you don't mind overpaying, then good. Like that's awesome. Like if you've got it, then roll with it. And so I do think UF is putting a lot of pressure on kids. I do think that they are overpaying. I think their NIL package is aggressive. I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised that that Florida would have a top 10-ish, top 15-ish NIL in the country if they're bought in. Last year, I don't know that they were necessarily bought in. I also don't know that they had the organization level that to really compete on an NIL. But let's not kid ourselves. I think UF obviously has resources, and if their boosters and donors are bought into that, then I think they're going to be a competitive team in NIL. I do question and wonder a little bit about some of the methods. A couple of the kids that committed to UF this weekend, it was their first or second time on campus. I typically don't love that. If the kid sticks and is a great Gator and goes down and gets a brick because he's an All-American, great, right? I'll eat some crow. But I don't typically love a kid committing to me the very first time he gets to campus. I don't love. I think Florida State tries to focus on that relationship a little bit more, and just offering a kid a ton of money to commit the first time he gets to your campus could work out, right? Like there's no saying that there's no chance it works out long term for them, but I don't necessarily know that it's always the right approach. It feels very Miami-ish to me. They're just not loud on Twitter saying that that's what's happening. But I'm telling you, when you have 7 commits in 3 days and kids committing the first time they ever get to your campus, that's NIL, right? Kids get it. And I've heard stories from multiple sides, UF sides, non-UF sides, that UF is putting some pressure on kids to say like, hey, if you don't commit now, this bag is for somebody else. At the end of the day, they've got a great recruiting class. And if they can hold that together and they can keep it together through NIL, through winning, through whatever, through relationships, props to them. They've got a good class right now. At the end of the day, we'll see what's successful long-term. Texas A&M has done similar things recently. Miami has done similar things recently. And we'll see how it all works out. We're very new to this NIL landscape. I also think Florida State's going to have a very, very good class too. And I think that recruiting titles, on-the-field titles, I'll get to you in just a sec, Shane, are not won in June. Let's see how things shake out and see where things go. I still like what Florida State's doing, and I'm not letting what UF has done over the last week or so impact that. Shane.
Put a smile on your face. Okay? Because Florida State, if we going to do it then, we do it big then. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I mean, at this time, Shane, I don't know that anybody on UF's roster was really worth retaining last year. When you talk about that, got to have 2 ops, one for recruits and transfers, another one for retention. Florida Victorious is essentially Rising Spear. Where is UF's Battles End? So, okay, let's say this. Battles End is not only about retention. I'll say that. Like, the Battles End is working all angles of NIL is maybe the best way to say that without, I mean, you guys all know what it is, but I don't know that I need to say things out loud. But I think that Florida Victorious tries to do it all just like the Battles End will, right? But I think, I think that who would you have retained on UF's roster last year? I mean, I guess AR, but I mean, nobody was going to retain a top 5 pick. But does that even help them? Like what? So they're over under in Vegas is 5.5 right now. If AR comes back, what is it? 6.5? Is he worth one win maybe? Because he wasn't good last year. Like so I don't know. I don't even know retention. Who would you keep from their roster last year? Maybe Ventrell Miller was a senior, so no, you couldn't have kept him. So I don't know. I don't. But yeah, I think we're fine. I think we're in a really good position with where NIL is. I don't think we have unlimited resources like some schools in the program do. I don't think UF has unlimited resources. You look at some of the kids they're pulling, they're out of state kids. Last year, Billy got praised so much, and we'll get off here UF here for just a minute or in just a minute and talk about some other things. But last year, Billy got praised for how great of a job he did keeping local talent home. I remember all the memes, not memes, but all the graphics you would see were like, oh man, he painted a 50-mile radius around Gainesville or 150 miles around Gainesville and nothing outside of that. Like he brought in so much local homegrown talent. And this year they're pulling guys from Missouri, Kansas, New Jersey, a bunch from middle of nowhere, Georgia. Nothing wrong with that. You pull your recruits from wherever you want. But I don't think first of all, I don't think Florida kids take ultimatums too well. Commit now or we're moving on. I think most Florida kids are a little more cocky, be like, hey, everybody in the country wants me. I'm from Florida. So, I think it's a little different this year. Obviously, they're expanding the board to see who they can get to commit. I think that, in talking with some folks at UF, I think that strategy is very important. I think that what they did last weekend was very coordinated. At the end of the day, it worked because it got them a lot of good PR. Also improved their class ranking, got them some really good commits. I'm not trying to dog any of their commits or anything like that. I'm certainly not going to hear me say that their commits are bad, or I'm not trying to spin things like that. But I think it was coordinated. I think at the end of the day, you're going to end up with the class you end up with, whether they all commit on January 1st or whether they all commit on December 15th, right before signing day. It's exciting when it all happens in one bunch. It can certainly frustrate FSU fans when it all happens in one bunch like it did. But I don't, the sky's not falling because UF got a bunch of commits in one weekend, right? Florida State's probably going to get 2 commits on July 4th. They're going to get another commit on July 29th. Wouldn't shock me if they get another 5-star commit and Jonathan Daniels between now and then. I have Makai Danzy on commit watch. I think there are others that could pop. Ricky Knight, 4-star out of Miami, just got a crystal ball as well. Wilt Fong did his thing and changed up his crystal ball once he saw Zach's. I think you could get 5-6 blue chips between now and the end of July. Would it be fun to have them all in 36, 48 hours? Of course. But that'd be a lot of work for me, guys. You guys have to watch a lot of my YouTube videos talking about those all in one time. If we spread them out, it's a little bit less work for me to have to do at one time. So I appreciate what the staff is doing, spreading those out a little bit. All right, hit the super chat if you haven't already. I appreciate Shane. I appreciate Jasper. I appreciate my guy Scott. Everybody that has contributed. My guy Zach for joining the channel. Hit that super chat if you haven't already. Yeah, I know. I would have fun with all those commits. Listen, I've been helping my girl. I haven't really publicly said this to me times, but I've been helping my girl Allie with her channel a little bit and trying to give some advice, trying to give some news, some info, this, that, and the other. I was tired from all those commits that Florida got, man. Like that was a lot going on at one time. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's give some love to Gramco. I don't have an ad. Well, actually, you could throw that up, Harlan. I don't care. Let's give some love to Gramco. Listen, it's been a minute since we've done live. Some of you guys that were freaking out about recruiting, honestly, just go to Gramco and get you a gummy. thegramco.com. Use TJ25 at checkout. Listen, I am sneaky. If you see me in Tallahassee, I've always got some Gramco in my pocket and some sample packs. I gave like 3 or 4 sample packs out last time I was in Tallahassee a few weeks ago, and several people were like, hey, man, those were really good. I'm kind of mad at you for giving me those because now I went online and bought them. I don't know if my guy Mike's in here, but he just told me that. I mean, he didn't say he was mad at me, but other people have. So don't let me give you Gramco in Tallahassee because you will end up going online and buying them. They're like that. So listen, they always support us through our tailgates. They always do a lot with us. thegramco.com, best Delta 8 products on the market. They got some new exciting stuff coming, so make sure that you're tuning in with them. Go check them out. They've also got some CBD stuff if you don't want the effects of the Gramco, but you would like some help in the CBD world, some pain relief, some joint muscle relief. They've got some good stuff there. TJ25 works on those products as well. You can find them all at thegramco.com. Okay.